In the sun-kissed cradle of Libya's ancient coasts, a desert storm was brewing, one that would swallow the land's Roman soul. In 642 AD, this storm broke. Arab armies, under the command of the brilliant general Amr ibn al-As, swept across the North African landscape. This wasn't just a military campaign, it was the dawn of a new era, an event that would reshape Libyan culture forever. But what truly set the stage for this dramatic transformation? What forces were at play that allowed a relatively small army to upend centuries of Byzantine rule? To understand this, we need to look at the state of Byzantine Libya before the conquest. The Eastern Roman Empire, though vast, was stretched thin. Decades of devastating wars with the Sasanian Persian Empire had exhausted its military and drained its treasury. Its control over its North African provinces was becoming increasingly fragile. The local populations, largely composed of Amazigh, or Berber, tribes, often chafed under Byzantine authority. They were subjected to heavy taxation and religious persecution, particularly the Donatist Christians who were considered heretics by the Orthodox State Church in Constantinople. This created a landscape of deep-seated resentment and disunity, a perfect storm waiting for a catalyst. That catalyst arrived with Amr ibn al-As and his 4,000 warriors. Fresh from their conquest of Egypt, they were not just soldiers, they were carriers of a new faith, Islam, and a powerful new idea of a unified community under one God. When they entered Cyrenaica, the eastern region of Libya, they didn't encounter a united, determined resistance. Instead, they found a fractured society. Many local tribes, weary of Byzantine oppression, saw the Arabs not as conquerors, but as potential liberators. They negotiated treaties, agreeing to pay the jizya, a tax on non-Muslims, in exchange for protection and the freedom to practice their own faith. This was a far better deal than the heavy-handed rule of the Byzantines. The city of Barca fell with little resistance, its leaders striking a deal that set a precedent for the rest of the campaign. With Cyrenaica secured, Amr set his sights on the wealthier, more fortified region of Tripolitania to the west. The jewel of this region was the port city of Tripoli, a bastion of Byzantine power. Here, the Arabs faced a much tougher challenge. The city was well defended with strong walls and a determined garrison. A siege began, lasting for about a month. The Byzantine defenders held out, hoping for reinforcements from the sea that never came. The breakthrough came from an unexpected quarter. According to historical accounts, a small group of Arab soldiers discovered an unguarded section of the city wall along the coast. They scaled the walls, opened the gates from within, and the city was thrown into chaos. The Byzantine governor and his troops fled to their ships and escaped, leaving the city to the conquerors. The fall of Tripoli was a decisive moment. It shattered the backbone of Byzantine resistance in Libya. With the major urban centers under their control, the Arab armies could then consolidate their power over the surrounding territories. But the conquest was more than just a series of military victories. It was the beginning of a profound cultural and social revolution. The most significant change was the introduction of Islam. The new faith spread gradually but steadily throughout the population. Mosques began to rise, often built on the sites of former churches, their minarets changing the skylines of ancient cities. While conversion was not forced, the social, economic, and political advantages of becoming a Muslim were considerable, leading many Berbers and even some of the remaining Romano-Libyan population to embrace the new religion over generations. Alongside Islam came the Arabic language. As the language of the Quran and the new administration, Arabic quickly became the language of power, commerce, and culture. It began to supplant the Latin, Greek, and local Berber dialects that had dominated the region for centuries. This linguistic shift was a powerful tool of integration, weaving Libya into the fabric of the burgeoning Arab Islamic world. New trade routes also emerged, reorienting Libya's economy away from the Mediterranean and towards the vast Islamic Caliphate. Trans-Saharan trade routes, which had existed for centuries, were revitalized and expanded, connecting Libya to the wealth and knowledge of both the sub-Saharan kingdoms and the heartlands of the Middle East. However, it's crucial to remember that this was not a simple or painless process. The conquest brought an end to centuries of Christian tradition in Libya. The vibrant Coptic and Donatist communities, which had once defined the region's religious landscape, began to decline, their languages and traditions slowly fading into memory. The old social structures, built around Roman and Byzantine hierarchies, crumbled, replaced by a new order defined by faith and tribal allegiance within the Islamic Ummah. For many, this was a period of upheaval and loss, a severing of ties to an ancient past. The churches that became mosques, the Latin words replaced by Arabic, each represented a small death of an old world. Yet, from this process of change and fusion, a new identity was born. The intermingling of Arab and Berber populations created a unique Libyan culture, one that blended the traditions of the desert with the faith of the newcomers. The social bonds that were forged in the fire of this conquest would go on to define Libya for the next 1400 years. This era didn't just turn interconnected dreams into a new reality, it laid the very foundation of modern Libya. From the ashes of Byzantine decline, a new Islamic civilization rose in North Africa, its spirit shaped by the desert winds and the call to prayer. The conquest of 642 AD was not just an event. It was the birth of a nation's soul. Looking back, the Arab conquest of Libya was a complex tapestry woven from threads of military strategy, political exhaustion, religious zeal, and cultural fusion. It was a pivotal moment where one world order crumbled and another was born. The echoes of Amr ibn al-Asa's campaign can still be heard today. In the language spoken in the streets, the faith practiced in the mosques, and the very identity of the Libyan people. It serves as a powerful reminder of how quickly the tides of history can turn, and how a small group of determined individuals can change the course of a continent. What are your thoughts on this transformative period in history? Do you see it primarily as a conquest, a liberation, or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the past, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from history.